rejected sucks. Whether you're passed over for a promotion, or you don't get a job that you really wanted after you interview, or you ask someone out and they say no. The thing about rejection is often those times are opportunities where you can really learn about yourself and you can grow and develop. But we're so caught up in feeling bad about the rejection that we miss that opportunity. If this is your first time here, my name's Eva. I'm a career coach and customer success director. And importantly for this video, I spend my free time doing Latin dancing. So I dance salsa and bachata. And you might be wondering, what on earth does Latin dancing have to do with dealing with rejection? Well, anyone who has learned to dance and has been on the social dance floor will know that it's prime ground for rejection. Everyone who's learned to social dance has been rejected time and time again, so we've got really good at it. And I'm going to share what I've learned from dancing to help you reframe the way that you look at rejection and make sure that you can turn it into a success and a growth opportunity for you. Let me ask you something. When is the last time that you were rejected? Have you put yourself out there for a job that you really were maybe underqualified for and you didn't get it and felt that feeling? If you think back to when the last time you were rejected was, and if you can't remember, it probably means you're not putting yourself out there enough. Getting rejected is a skill. You should definitely, I encourage you to go and ask someone out or try out for a job that you're underqualified for. Do something that you're not particularly good at just to try it out, because you will learn. Rejection can be a skill. Like anything else, you can get good at it and just let it not affect you in the same way. I have so much sympathy for cold callers because I used to call people and sell BT Sports on Sky TV, and the number of times I got told to F off because I'm bothering them on a Sunday. It just now doesn't bother me anymore because I've done it so many times. And you realize this terrible thing that you're dreading in your head about being rejected, you'll survive it and life will go on and things will get better. So you'll know that you'll either survive the rejection, but if you don't try and you're never getting rejected, you're probably not pushing yourself enough out of your comfort zone. By the way, this is not a video about not caring what other people think, because you should care what other people think. First of all, you should care about the right people and what they think, where it's relevant. But ultimately, you're going to have to work with other people. It's other people you're going to be rejecting and getting rejected by. So it does matter what they think in this context. Maya Grossman, who is this amazing career coach, said that when you're rejected for an interview, it's not because they're rejecting you, but they are rejecting what their perception of you is. And it's up to you to change that. And that's where the opportunity to improve and learn comes in. The problem with being rejected is that it often makes us feel so bad that we go out of our way to avoid that rejection. And sometimes that means not even applying for the job or sabotaging your interview or saying that you don't really want it just so that you don't feel bad if you don't get it. And that's a shame because it stops you from trying again and actually eventually getting to see that great result. No one starts out perfectly, and I have a great example of when perseverance despite rejection and humiliation sometimes is the way to go. And that example is right here. If you don't know what this is something that has saved my life. It's called a tangle teaser. It's just a brush, so nothing really that just a brush. I mean, it's much more than just a brush, but the point of the tangle teaser, this was designed to help brush your hair without making it too frizzy and actually help deal with a lot of the knots. And tangle teaser was created by an inventor who took it to Dragon's Den. If you don't watch Dragon's Den, it's a lot of entrepreneurs who take their creations in front of a panel of these super successful investors and they pitch their product or service to try and get funding from the investors. And I need to get his name. Sean Palfrey. So when Sean Palfrey took the tangle teaser, he was absolutely ridiculed. Deborah Meaden says it looks exactly like the bristle she uses for her horses. She could not see people ever buying a tangle teaser. And if you look at Deborah Meaden's hair, you can tell she's never had to tame this mane. So they just didn't get it. They ridiculed him. They told him he would never make any money and that it was ridiculous. His product wasn't needed. Fast forward a few years, Tangle Teezer is now a £70 million business. It's hugely successful, and basically every curly-haired girl that I know has a Tangle Teezer because it's a brilliant product. But had Sean Palfrey just wallowed in his rejection and thought, oh yes, they're right, I have nothing to add, I'm useless, then he wouldn't have continued to build this empire and also save me so many tears from trying to brush out knots from my hair. So it's important, if you have something to offer, and we all have something to offer, allowing yourself to stop trying for the things that you want to do just because you've been rejected once or twice is going to rob not just you, but the world of the opportunities and the things that you can bring. So you've got to keep going despite that rejection. I always find that story really, really inspiring. And actually, if you enjoy Dragon's Den, I love that program, just go back and look at the successes that have come out of Dragon's Den when the dragons didn't think that that product or service was going to be a success. All right, let's get to the fun bit, which is the dancing. And with that in mind, I think this is a perfect time to cut to a salsa 10-second dance break. So how can you use the lessons from social dancing and bring that into the rest of your life and how you generally view rejection? And the first key lesson, I've got 3 here. The first key lesson is understanding whether the rejection is because of you or it's because of them. Mainly, the rejection is because of you when you are not qualified enough to do something. That applies when you're applying for different jobs and interviews. If you don't have some of the qualification, you know that that's something that you can improve. But sometimes the rejection just is because something that they see, it's something that isn't necessarily something that you can improve or that you should improve or that you should change. So how does that apply in dance? Well, when you go to social dancing, when you start dancing, salsa or bachata, or any other Latin dances, you'll go to parties and people will be asking other people to dance. And the men tend to be the leaders and the women tend to be the followers. And depending on the culture, it can be customary for the men to ask, but women also ask, and I certainly ask and also get rejected too. When you are a beginner, as every guy who starts dancing, I definitely sympathize with them, you will get rejected again and again because you're a beginner, and sometimes because you're afraid to ask people to dance, but it's likely that you'll get rejected much more and you won't get asked to dance as much. So that can also feel like a rejection. It's not direct, right? But the fact that other people get asked and you don't can feel like a rejection. So if you are a beginner, you'll know that it's because of you. It's because you haven't improved your skills to the level where everyone will really enjoy dancing with you yet. And that's fine. The guys who give up, get angry with the world, and don't go to lessons anymore and don't keep dancing will just not be rejected anymore, and they'll avoid the potential joys of social dancing. But the ones who continue to get rejected, continue to go to class, continue getting better, will end up being more in demand than the best followers, and then all of the followers will want to dance with them. So the ones who stick it out despite the rejection get the better results. And how do you find out whether it's you or it's them? You ask for feedback. You go to classes. You learn from people who are better than you, and then you take on board that feedback. I can't tell you the number of times I've been to a class and I watched the guys leading a move which is completely not what the teacher just showed, and yet they insist that they've got it right and they're not paying attention because they think they know everything. And even when they're told, oh, I think it might be the other side, or I think it might be this way, they're insistent that they've got it absolutely right. So if you think you're always right, you're probably not learning. And if you get rejected, then just have a look at that. Now, if you've done your share of the work and you've improved your skills and you've got yourself to a good level and you practice and you train and you learn and you take on board feedback, and now you've gone through a few years and you're a good social dancer, sometimes people will just reject you for any number of reasons. And that rejection is about them. For example, I have definitely rejected, not for any bad reason, but I've definitely rejected dancers who are great and I enjoy dancing with because I didn't like the song. I wasn't feeling it in that moment. I was tired. I was too sweaty and I didn't want to get too close to someone. So there can be so many reasons that someone says no and that have nothing to do with you. So being able to accept that. And that actually brings me on to the second point, which is rejection is a good thing and it allows you to wholeheartedly say yes when you do say yes. So probably for my first at least 5 years of social dancing, even longer probably, I insisted, and I was kind of taught this as well, that you should dance with everybody because everybody was a beginner once and we shouldn't make people feel bad, and we feel really guilty about rejecting people because we don't want to make anyone feel bad. The problem with that is there are leaders who are rough and who will hurt you when you dance with them, or who have very poor personal hygiene. And I would just convince myself that I have to dance with them and I have to make sure they don't feel bad. But then that meant that I felt bad. So I probably didn't enjoy my dances that much. I wasn't as involved with the other person in the dancing, so they probably didn't enjoy that dance that much either. And the problem is, some of the particularly rough and stubborn leaders who don't go to class end up getting the same amount of dances because we're feeling bad about saying no to them. Well, if they started being rejected a little bit more, maybe they would learn that there's something that they need to do on their side. But as long as everyone keeps saying yes, that message is never going to come across. So I no longer dance with everyone. I now want to really enjoy the dances that I say yes to. And sometimes it might just be that I'm not feeling that song and I feel a lot more comfortable saying no, because when I have social dances now, they're amazing. And I still dance with beginners. I don't demand to dance with the best dancer there, but I want to be feeling everything. And when I am, I have a much better dance and it's much more enjoyable for everyone involved. So rejection can actually be a gift, and you should look at it that way as well. Give people the same respect that you would want them to give you. You don't want someone who doesn't really want to dance with you to just be disengaged and not be really enjoying it because they said yes when they really didn't want to. So allow people to say no so that when they say yes, you can enjoy that so much more. And that brings me on quite nicely to the third lesson, which is the world doesn't have to pay for your rejection. Make sure that you are accepting that rejection graciously. I've seen guys on the dance floor after you say no who get really offended, and they might yank you by the arm, or they might persistently keep asking you even though you've said no a number of times, or they'll insult you, or they'll start talking badly about you. And I guess that says a lot more about them not being comfortable to handle the fact that not everyone just wants to be around them all the time. At that stage, you really just have to accept that people don't owe you their time. People don't owe you their attention, and they don't owe you dances. So at that point, it's just up to you to accept that the rejection is not because of you and not to take it personally. So make sure that you are not making people pay for rejecting you. See if there's something that you can learn from that rejection. Otherwise, just accept it for what it is. So there you have it, how you can use tips from social dancing. And by the way, if you want to try it, get in touch. I know people in lots of places who are salsa dancing. I highly recommend it. If you want to practice your skills in getting rejected, start salsa dancing or start Latin dancing. I hope you found this helpful, and I hope it's helped you look at rejection a little bit differently, in that it can be a good thing and it can be a gift, or sometimes it's just something that you have to accept and it may not have anything to do with you. My name's Eva. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe and hit the bell to make sure you get access to new videos every Friday. Thanks so much for watching.